Who's in, who's out? We're predicting the Falcons' final 53-man roster. And right now, the Falcons have officially started the process of cleaning house, controversially cutting seasoned veterans to make way for fresh talent. We're revealing the breakout players and the impact rookies and the ones who survived the cuts and are now set to define the Atlanta Falcons 2025 NFL season. With another round of cuts to go, we're going to break down who's left, who's in, who's out, and potentially practice squad players. What's up, Falcon family, my Dirty Bird Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Atlanta Falcons Pandemic, a show built for the fans by the fans. The heartbeat of the Dirty Birds faithful, where my fellow pandemics never waver and the passion never dies. I am your host, Manuel McFarland, the trusted voice of diehard Falcon fans who live and breathe this team. So who is in and who is out? Who are they? The Falcons just made a decision that's sending shockwaves through the fan base. A veteran leader who is out and a new face is ready to take his spot. The final 53-man roster is on its way to being set and has a couple of surprises moved by Coach Raheem Morris and the coaching staff. We're about to break down the most unexpected move of them all, the release of veteran defensive lineman Morgan Fox. As I brought out in my last video, this was about some fringe player getting cut. This is a proven vet with 120 NFL games under his belt who signed a new contract just this past March. I mean, he played in all 3 preseason games, and yet the team is moving on, eating a significant $3 million dead cap hit in the process. In this video, we're not just going to talk about that stunning decision. We're going to break down the entire 53-man roster position by position. I'm going to tell you why the release of Morgan Fox actually makes a strange kind of sense, and who the new faces are that are about to become household names this season. Let's start with the offensive line, the no-brainers. Well, no, not just the line, just the offense in general, the people that we know that are going to be here, the no-brainers. But before we get into the drama and the bubble players, let's establish the foundation. These are the guys who were never in danger, the cornerstones of this 2025 team that will be built around. At quarterback, no doubt, the future is now. Michael Penix Jr. is the starter with Kirk Cousins as the veteran backup. Make all the sense in the world. A huge storyline for the Falcons this year is how Penix handles the starting role. His performance is absolutely critical for this team's success and their push to dominate a wide-open NFC South. The closely watched race is going to be between Easton Stick, who had a great couple of games, and Emory Jones for that third and final quarterback spot. Now, all these quarterbacks have had both of these quarterbacks have had for rookies, phenomenal season. I'm not going to say rookies, but both of them have had a phenomenal preseason, phenomenal minicamp. Both of these could destined actually be behind Kirk Cousins. But it seems like Easton Stick has a slight edge. Emory Stick ended up on the PUP list. So Easton Stick has plenty of opportunity. He made the best of his time. So presumably, if I have to pick, it's going to be Easton Stick. We're going to have to go with it. At running back, it begins and ends with one name, Bijan Robinson. He is the engine of this offense, a player who had a fantastic 2024 season and is in the conversation as a top 5 pick in the fantasy football drafts. He's a certified superstar and the focal point of everything the Falcons want to do on the ground. Backing him up is the ever-reliable Tyler Algier, one of the most solid number 2 backs in the entire league. He and Bijan form a duo that is a lock, no question, as the best in the NFL, the best NFL duo in the NFL. Whenever we look at the very lengthy wide receiving room, the conversation starts with Drake London. After a strong 2024 season where he established himself as a true number 1, his ceiling could be even higher with Penix at the helm. The NFL has disrespected this man and has not labeled him as one of the top 20, or say top 5 receivers in the league. How is that? I don't know. Even with the way the Falcons season ended, Drake London had a phenomenal year. Better than some of the receivers that they have before him. But that's for another day. Alongside him, we got Darnell Mooney that offers that high ceiling, a big play ability as the clear number 2. And of course, there's Kyle Pitts at tight end. The trade rumors might always be swirling, but he is a unique talent and a lock for this roster. And none of this works without the big guys up front. The offensive line, led by veterans Jake Matthews, Chris Lindstrom, both are considered a strength and the bedrock that allows the skilled players to shine. The starting center spot is now held down by Ryan Nuzil, who stepped up big time when injuries hit last season, and now with the loss of former center Drew Dahlman, Nuzil takes over full time. Now we have 2 critical injuries on the offensive front, and we are uncertain as to their return. But with the chemistry that this O-line has built, I'm not going to say we can stick anybody in there, but we can pretty much put our rookie there, Jack Nelson, and surround him with veterans that already has developed chemistry with this line. We can always go double tight end set on that side. And let's not forget that he's right next to the best in the league, Chris Lindstrom. So we could actually put Jack Nelson there and survive until the return of Caleb McGarry or Storm Norton. We can actually go a step further and bring back Tyrone Wheatley, who we recently let go. But the offensive line is still, there's a question mark. Now, the offensive bubble and surprises, let's go on and run them in. The roster spots are won and lost on the margins. So this is where the real battles happen and where some surprising names emerge. The wide receiver room behind London and Mooney is a fierce competition. Guys like Kadero Hodge and Ray McLeod, who singularly carved out their roles, but the final spots were up for grabs. The surprise here might be a guy like Casey Washington, who had a strong camp and flashed as a gunner on special teams, proving that sometimes versatility is the ultimate tiebreaker. Another name who seems to have secured a spot is Jamal Agnew, whose skills are valued in the return game. Chris Blair, Nick Nash, Drummond, David Seals, all 3 have an argument and deserving to be legitimately on this team. So who's in, who's out? Who would you go with? Me, if I'm making a decision, Seals, it's going to be tough, but Seals have to go to the practice squad. Chris Blair, with his performance this preseason, I mean, we can go back to last season, and with the time that he came in, he made the best of it. He had a strong performance in his very few appearances last season. Nick Nash, he made a couple rookie mistakes, but the time that he had on the field, he made some promising good looks, specifically yards after the catch. He shows what he could do. He's elusive. No, he's no Julio. But when you make the argument for the 5th, 6th spot, you have to include Nick Nash. But like I said, all of these guys, that whole receiving room, have made the argument and legitimately could make this squad. The running back depth chart was another point of interest. We knew Robinson and Algier were the 1-2 punch, but the third running back spot was the legitimate question. The player who ultimately grabbed and locked down this spot is the undrafted rookie Nathan Carter, who impressed their staff and to all fans alike. I mean, he did enough to make it to the next round of cuts. I think he will make it to this 53-man squad. Nathan also has me feeling a little bit better about us not being able to hang on to Tyler Algier in 2026 if it comes to that. Could we legitimately move on from Algier if Nathan Carter is that next guy? And don't forget, we have in the background last season's UFL rushing leader, Joshawn Corbin, who is also a versatile player with the special team abilities as a returner, aka secret weapon. Let's not forget. This guy is just elusive as they come. Hits the hole with I mean, he's patient, but he hits the hole fast. This leaves Carlos Washington as the odd man out. Athletic as Washington is, we just haven't seen enough of him to make or form an opinion. And that could be sending a message to Washington. Now, there was a story that he might have been fighting an injury and he was forcing himself to play. But I think he's still the odd man out. I mean, every year he's the last guy in the running back room. Well, outside of last season where we had Jace McClellan, but even Jace McClellan saw more time than Carlos Washington did. So that leaves Carlos Washington out on the bubble there to be not making the next cut or not making the next cut. The offensive line depth was shaken up by injuries, like I said. Caleb McGarry, Storm Norton, who both appeared headed to injured reserve. This opened the door for others, but luckily a new NFL rule allows teams to place 2 players on IR without having to expose them to waivers, which helped the Falcons manage the situation. Elijah Wilkinson has stepped up as the next man up at tackle, but the real story is how this impacts the depth. With injuries testing the line, the versatile rookie Jack Nelson, a tackle who has played guard, will be a crucial depth piece. Nelson is not a bad idea at all, and I do realize he's a rookie, but let's not forget how Matthew Bergeron earned his spot. Let's just hope with all the talk of Jack Nelson during the draft that he's able to come in and learn on the fly. Now, that new rule that they have for IR, it reads just like this: players on IR do not count against the 53-man active roster limit, but their salaries count against the salary cap. So even if this works in our advantage, we still have to consider this the money. So if we was to go out and get, let's just say, go shopping for another tackle, it's going to be more to it than just saying, hey, I need you to come fill a spot for me. We got to take and consider that the money still counts. So we still have to have money on the books to even go shopping. Furthermore, on this rule, that teams may designate up to 8 players to return from IR during the regular season, and up to 10 if team makes the postseason. Let me read that again, because I think this is going to be critical going down to forming this 53-man roster, and it's going to work to our advantage. Teams may designate up to 8 players to return from IR during the regular season, and up to 10 if a team makes the postseason. So what does that mean for Kobe Bryant if he's still hurt on his next roster cut? Where do we think he's going to end up at? We definitely do not want to see that man hit the practice squad. So if he's still hurt, this is going to be our best option. So, to go on further with it, says an individual player can be designated twice. Once a player on IR is cleared to practice, they have 21 days to either be activated to the active roster or be placed on season-ending IR. So this rule actually helps us when it comes down to making this next roster cut. We can actually retain people that we think that we may have to either cut or put on the practice squad. So if Kobe Bryant for an example, if we're on a bubble about cutting him or putting him on the practice squad, this rule actually help us make a decision for him or for us. It's to our advantage. But God, that's my take on the offense. It's a group with established stars and some new faces and key depth roles. But I want to know what you guys think. Who was your surprise pick to make the roster on the offensive side of the ball? Drop your predictions in the comments below. But now let's flip to the defensive side where the biggest shocker of them all went down. The biggest shakeup. I'm going to, yeah, it was a shakeup. I'm going to say that with all things considering. Because this spot is still where we potentially still need a good body. You know what I mean? A proven body. But I'll go into that later. But this is the move that nobody saw coming. I think a lot of us was actually looking forward to Morgan Fox being in that middle. But the release of Fox is the headline of the Falcons' final cuts and one of their cuts, and it signals a major philosophical shift on the defensive line. Let's break it down. Fox is a 9-year veteran with 120 games, like I said earlier, of experience. The Falcons just signed him in March. He wasn't just a camp body. He was expected to play a significant rotational role. But the writing on the wall, when you saw Fox playing deep into the final preseason, a spot usually reserved for players on the bubble, it seems the coaching staff felt like the younger players like Octavia Street and Taquan Graham were consistently working ahead of him in the rotation. This decision is a clear message. The front office is prioritizing youth and scheme fit over veteran pedigree, even if it meant adding a free agent signing that didn't work out just months later. My perspective on Fox, when you look at the competition that he was facing, he just wasn't dynamic enough for us. He didn't turn heads. There were no awe moments for Fox. He did have a few tackles. He did disrupt a couple of plays, but there were like no awe moments, no dynamic moments. Being a 9-year veteran, going against rookies and undrafted free agents and camp invites, he should have been able to do more. People say, well, he's a veteran, he's older. But what do you think he's going to do when he goes up against starters, younger guys? We definitely do not want to relive a Matthew Judon moment where we put money into a free agent, a veteran free agent, to come here to make a difference, and he disappears. Right? So, but the beneficiary of this move are the young players who now have a clear path to playing time. This is how new faces become household names. The new defensive line will still be anchored by the veteran presence of David Onyemata, but now there's a huge opportunity for guys like Ruko Rohoro, Brandon Dorless to step into larger roles. What's left to dissect are the likes of Caleb Kareem, LaCal London, D'Angelo Malone, the special team specialist, Braylon Trice, Simeon Barrow. Now, Simeon Barrow and LaCal London are poised, in my opinion, will probably be on the practice squad. Yeah. And I think the jury is still out on Braylon Trice. We definitely don't want to put him in a position where he can go somewhere and be a star. But like I said, the jury is still out on him. I would see him one more time. Let him be a last if he doesn't show us anymore. But he's young, right? And he's one of the packages from the edge rusher position that we need so much help at. So that even the edge rusher position is still wide open, even with the likes of James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker, right? So we're looking for people that's going to actually step up. Because Braylon Trice, before he got injured, guys, he was actually looking pretty good. He was looking pretty doggone good. And Braylon Trice is one of those edge rushers that can play on both sides of the line. So that's his versatility. Might just give him a second look. But beyond the line, the rest of the defense has its own intrigue. The linebacker core is led by Caden Ellis and Divine Diablo, with Troy Anderson likely to start the season on injury. on the injury list as he recovers from a knee issue. This opens the spot up for guys like Josh Woods, who had a strong camp and can fill that void immediately. Another player is D'Angelo Malone, who has been cross-training at both inside and outside linebacker and is a demon on special teams, which is one of the things that's going to save him for his job. But J.D. Bertrand and Malik Vernon would possibly be the odd candidates out, in my opinion. I was actually expecting more from J.D. Bertrand and was looking for him to be able to stand alongside Caden Ellis, either that or back up Caden Ellis. But so far, it's a no-show for J.D. Bertrand. Same thing for Malik Vernon. But both of these guys were, I'm going to say if JD does not end up on the practice squad, he's just going to be released. I don't think they saw enough of him to turn heads, even from his play from last season, to deserve a second look. When you have guys that come in like Josh Woods who turn heads, and Caden Ellis is a presumed starter, Jalen Walker, who's I think is going to go back to his position at middle linebacker, and he should go back, not middle linebacker, to outside linebacker, and he needs to be there. He needs to be there. Jalen Walker needs to be that guy that when we face these mobile quarterbacks, he needs to be at the linebacker position and not edge rusher. I know a lot of us, want him to be at that edge rusher position, but I will look to see what he can do at that edge rusher position, but he needs to be at linebacker, standing up where he can look at these mobile quarterbacks that we face year in and year out. And truth be told, guys, let's be honest about it. Mobile quarterbacks have been our downfall pretty much. Along with the run game, we have to get guys that can see the field. You know what I mean? And Jalen Walker is that guy. We all saw him play at Georgia. And what he was playing better at, it was not at the edge rusher position. It was at that linebacker position where he was able to see into the backfield or look at the quarterback eyes. So hopefully Jalen can make that move and stay at his normal position. But back to these cup candidates in the secondary, we're going to move on to that. The team is keeping its options open, while AJ Terrell and Jesse Bates are the elite leaders of this group. The depth chart behind them is critical. This is where a surprise player could emerge. As guys like Michael Hughes, Clark Phillips III battle for roles. This will be another group of battles, much like the wide receiver group, but it'd be very tough for Raheem Morris and the coaching staff to dissect. With remaining players like Natron Brooks, who I think has had a phenomenal preseason. I think he gets the nod to be on this team and earn him a spot. CJ Henderson, Billy Bowman Jr., Mike Ford, who's he's a veteran. Jordan Fuller, another veteran. Both of these guys, I think, is going to have the possibility to be in the mix, which doesn't leave much room for Keith Taylor and Ronnie Harrison. Unless something catastrophic happens, these two will probably be the odd two out. As we continue to see this group materialize, it's going to be interesting to see where D. Alford ends up along with Clark Phillips. But as of right now, I think Lamar Jackson and Clark Phillips will compete for that final spot. Xavier Watts, he's an end. He's going to be here. In what capacity? Who knows? But I'm not sure if he can play nickel, play both packages. But we have to remember, we have to keep in mind that Jeff Albrecht is not the typical defensive coordinator. He doesn't run with that 3-4 or 4-3. He doesn't just stick with one. He interchanges them both. So our players under Albrecht are going to flash. They're going to be all over the field. You never know what you're going to get. They may line up in the 3-4, but come with the 4-3. You know what I mean? So there's no telling. It's going to be real interesting to see what Albrecht does with this team. What he did up there with the Jets, that was something to watch. You know what I mean? So with this group here, young, fast, talented, athletic, These guys can make plays or will be able to make plays. We might see about 3 or 4 Pro Bowlers from this side of from the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to say about 3. I may be stretching, but I'm going to say about 3 guys off that defense that could possibly make the Pro Bowl. The edge rusher position has been completely revamped. Leonard Floyd was brought in to lead the charge, and he's joined by a host of young, hungry players. Keep an eye on rookies, Jalen Walker, like I was saying just now, Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., who are expected to play significant roles right away. This is where the Falcons are hoping for a breakout star. Both Zach Robinson and Arnold Ebiketie are entering their 3rd and 4th years respectively, and are poised to become very key contributors for this team. Ebiketie, in particular, is a player to watch as he enters a contract year. With more talent around him than ever, he should eat. He should eat. Now, granted, Grady Jarrett, he did have Grady Jarrett playing next to him. He pretty much had this core group playing next to him. But these guys here, these young guys that's coming in, these guys are faster, which means they're it's going to disrupt the blocking scheme of the offense. And Ebiketie is that type of guy that can benefit from that. But what's left to dissect are the likes of Taquan Graham, who Raheem Morris is big on. If y'all remember, Raheem Morris described Taquan Graham as a violent individual, and that's just what right up Jeff Albrecht's alley, right? Contavious Street. I think it's about time for this man to show what he can do. I really do. A lot of people are sold on him, but he needs to. This is that year that he needs to come alive, I believe. Caleb Kareem, I'm really on the fence about him. I just don't know. I didn't watch him a lot in camp, so I saw more of LaCal London than I did Kareem. So, but LaCal London, on the other hand, he's still going to make the practice squad. He's going to be around. He's not new to the practice squad, but he's going to be around as a depth piece. D'Angelo Malone, like I said, for sure, he's gonna be here. He's not he lost a step when it comes to playing on defense. Maybe. I mean, he might find new life under Albrecht, but he is definitely the special team specialist, or one of the special team specialists that we have. Braylon Trice, Simeon Barrow, and like I said, LaCal London are poised to make the practice squad, in my opinion. I want to see more from Simeon Barrow. I would hate to see him make the practice squad, because I got a feeling that if he does, somebody's going to scoop him up. Even if it's not for just depth piece, somebody's going to scoop him up just because. And if he mess around, and one team that could very well do it are the Saints. The Saints are hurting on defense, and they need a guy like Simeon Barrow. And I would hate to see any of our players that we put on the practice squad get picked up by either Tampa Bay or the Saints, or Carolina for that matter, or any team in this division. Now, the special teams guys, the unsung battles, the unsung heroes, the third phase of the game, a unit that often decides the final few roster spots. There are no questions about the specialists. Younghoe Koo is one of the best kickers in the league, and he's joined by punter Bradley Pinion and long snapper Liam McCullough. Those are the 3 locks, right? We already know Lenny Craig is going to be here on the international contract, so he does not count against the 53-man roster, so he's a definite lock in it too. So our 3 kickers are going to be here. Liam McCullough is going to be here, so we're not worrying about the special team on that aspect. The real battle, however, is in the return game. Who will be fielding kicks and punts? This is where a player on the roster bubble can truly make their mark. It seems the Falcons have pegged Jamal Agnew as a primary return man, a role that he secured his spot on the 53-man roster. He gives a team an explosive element that can flip field position in an instant. And that field position is one of those things where we were constantly trying to improve. When we had William Avery here, it just wasn't, it was just safe. You know what I mean? He field the ball, get a couple of yards off the field. But bringing in a guy like Jamal Agnew, who's very experienced in this aspect, and can make plays, hopefully the field is starting out, field positions will increase and be better. But players like Raymond McCloud, also an experienced guy, giving the team a valuable depth and options. Don't overlook the gunners on punt coverage, though. Players like Casey Washington, Cordell Hodge may have cemented his roster spot with their hustle and impact on special teams. And that's another reason why, when it came down to talking about Cordell Hodge possibly not making a team as a receiver, special teams save players, and this is what I was just talking about earlier. But he's pretty much he's had a good preseason, so he's cemented his spot. But what a lot of people don't realize is that running back Jashawn Corbin, presumably the fourth running back in this, I'm thinking that's going to make this team, also fields kicks, and he did so in the NFL, and that's giving himself even more opportunity to make this 53-man squad. But Raymond McLeod, guys, do not be surprised if Raymond McLeod is not a Falcon this coming season. Does Raymond McLeod make plays? Yes. Does he have good hands? Yes. But when you look at our receiving room, all of these guys, all of these receivers are big, fast receivers. That's not taking nothing from no play away from Raymond McLeod. We all saw what he did last season. But when you look at the rest of these players that have impressed Coach Raheem Morris and how extensively they looked at these receivers. Y'all saw how many times Ethan Stick threw the ball. It was a lot. He wanted to see which one of these receivers was going to make that next step. But even if Raymond McLeod is here, he's another one that fields kicks. But like I said, availability. Your Coach Raheem said early on in the preseason last year, that we were looking for players that could contribute in more than one way, right? So this is going to be a very tough year. We thought last year was going to be tough for Raheem Morris. This is going to be a very, very tough year for Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson and Jeff Albrecht to make decisions on who they're going to keep, who they're going to put on practice squad, and who they're going to waive. It's going to be tough. So there you have it, guys. The 2025 Atlanta roster. It's a fascinating mix of established Pro Bowl talent and a youth movement that is being fully embraced. The shocking cut of Morgan Fox was the clearest sign yet that this front office is not afraid to make tough, controversial decisions to build the team in a specific vision. That's why when I'm saying this next cut, guys, we thought this cut here was crazy. Wait till we see the next one. I can't wait myself. I couldn't make the decision. I mean, I get it. If we're out there, we're watching them every day, we're seeing their work ethic. Yeah, we probably could make the decision. But as fans and content creators on the outside looking in, it's a very tough decision. But we're a team that's banking on a new era of quarterback Michael Penix Jr. and the superstar talent of Bijan Robinson and Drake London to lead the offense. We're looking for players to surround them with, right? It's like basketball. You know, you pick your guard that's going to lead your team, and then you start building around that player, or you pick the superstar player, and then you start building around that team. But my top three surprise players who made this roster, this final roster, are linebacker Josh Woods, who stepped up with Troy Anderson injured, rookie running back Nathan Carter, who won a job over, I think, over more experienced players, and defensive lineman Contavious Street, who directly benefited from Morgan Fox's cut. And I do believe Contavious Street, being the younger guy with a couple of years under his belt, and he showed just enough to show that he wants to be here, right? But as for Troy Anderson, I do believe he would not be on this roster next season. Even if he's here, he's going to be placed on IR, right? But I think ultimately in the end, he's going to be one of those players. Like I said, we can put 8 players on IR, and if he does come back, it'll be at a point where we're not going to like really depend on him to make contributions, right? Something will have to happen for him to get on to see him in uniform on the field. But these are the kind of players who will define the depth and the resilience of this team. The biggest question marks remain how quickly the young pass rushers can become true impact players and how the offensive line holds up with early season injuries. So there you have it, Fandemics. My 53-man roster prediction for the 2025 Atlanta Falcons, the team with some massive changes and a ton of young talent. So what did y'all think? What did I get right? What did I get horribly wrong? Let me know in the comments. And if you love deep dives into the Falcons like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss a breakdown. Until next time, Falcon family, continue to rise up. All right, Fandemic family, that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in and sharing your passion for our Atlanta Falcons with us. Your energy and support are what make this community truly special. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a 2 thumbs up, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our exciting content. And seriously, don't forget to hit that notification bell right next to that subscribe button so that you'll be the first to know when we drop new videos about our beloved Dirty Birds. And as always, continue to rise up, and we'll see you in the Super Bowl.